start the session by understanding how yoga and yogic knowledge helps us to flourish our relationships. It empowers our relationships with our loved ones. So let's sit back and just relax for a few minutes and think, why is it that there is so much obstruction in our relationships with our loved ones? Whether it's a home life or if it's a work life, why do we have to face so many challenges in spite of the fact that there is so much knowledge out there on relationships? Every day, the number of people who are going to counseling relating to relationships is increasing, in spite of the fact that we have added more comfort items, we have more technology, more information, yet we are getting poorer and poorer when it comes to our relationships with our loved ones. So today I'm going to be sharing some yogic secrets with you, that how we can flourish our relationships. So think, why is it that our relationships are not blooming? So in your own mind, in your own field of responsibilities, think, why is it that I'm not successful in maintaining good relationships with my loved ones? So just think for a second. What comes in our way? And now, anybody wants to share? Ego. Okay. Expectations. From the past, okay. Past life comes in the way. So we all have different experiences as to what comes in the way between me and my relationships. I'm not talking about other people's relationships. I'm only focusing here between me and my relationships, what comes in the way. Now, why is it that we, even though we are knowledgeable, we allow it to happen? What is the root cause? Because yoga is all about getting to the root cause of it. It never gives you the band-aid approach. It always tells you what is the root cause behind it. Normally, when we are interacting with our loved ones, we mostly focus on how do we speak to them and how do we act, isn't it? Most of the times we are focusing on what we are doing and what we are saying. And many times we feel that every word that we have uttered from our mouth has been picture perfect. We have said everything so well to our loved ones, and I've always done good to my loved ones, but why is it that I don't receive the same back from them? Isn't that the question we all ask ourselves from time to time? That I've done everything right, I've spoken everything right, but why is it that I don't receive the same back? And this is where yogic science teaches us that it is not what we speak and it is not what we do that flourishes our relationships. It is what I feel and what I think in my mind. That's what makes the relationships very strong. Because we know if our relationships are very strong, there is joy, there is happiness, there is peace in our relationships with our loved ones, then health has to be the outcome of that, right? So, how we think and what we feel, we never think about that. So even when we go out for conferences, They all teach us the art of speaking, the art of acting, your body language. But no one never teaches us that every thought behind every word that we utter, that's what matters the most. So for example, I'm going to take Hema as an example. So she's here and I tell Hema, you're very nice. You are so wonderful. I love you very much. I care about you. You're an awesome person to be with. So I say 5 sentences very beautifully. But in my mind, I'm saying, oh my God, she had to come here. I really don't like, every time she comes, she really brings the worst out of me. Now my day is gone, completely finished, So inside, there is a different commentary that's going on. So think about it, and yogic science always has a rationale behind everything. I told her 5 very beautiful sentences. I care about her, I love her. But inside now, I must have thought 25 to 30 times how bad she is, and I really don't like her, and I hope I never have to see her again. Okay? So imagine 5 sentences versus 25 thoughts. Our thoughts reach to the other person faster than our words. Rule number 1. Rule number 2 is that we speak only few words, but thoughts are always so much more, so many more. In fact, we all think 25 to 30 thoughts per minute and 30,000 to 50,000 thoughts per day. And they are the repetition of 200 to 300 thoughts. So just imagine how many thoughts all day. I might be just thinking about her, that she ruined my day, and I'm all day talking about her to me, only myself. So the problem comes in that we do what we see on the outer side, we make it perfect. That our words are coming out perfectly, it has the right amount of sweetness, it has that right feeling, right touch, no negative words are used. So we fix everything what our eyes can see, but our feelings, our thoughts, we cannot see. So because we don't see them, we don't pay any attention to them, and we don't do any work on them. And that's the reason the outer words are completely hollow. And then we wonder, I'm always giving it right, but why am I not receiving it right? So anytime if we feel that we are not getting what we really want to receive, then look within and watch your vibrations towards that person. And this is where yoga helps us. Yoga, yogic practices, meditation, yogic knowledge. It helps us to bring that stability in our emotions, in our feelings, in our thoughts. Our mind becomes very calm, body becomes very relaxed, and our feelings that are generated out of our body and mind are higher feelings, happier feelings that give birth to positive thoughts. Thoughts filled with love. Our emotions are loving, and then our actions are sharp, our speech is divine, and outcomes and the results are beautiful. So try it. Anytime you feel that you're not receiving what you want, then instead of waiting for you to receive the right energy, just change your energy. But what do? We always think that if someone hasn't treated us right, then we need to also treat them the exact same way. So today, I start my day and I come across someone who ignored me. So what would I do? I will also ignore that person, right? Then I go 2 steps forward and someone didn't wish me, so I will think in my mind, she didn't care to wish me and I will not wish. So now 10 negative things happen. At the end of the day, I have lost my personality completely. What am I doing? I am becoming carbon copy of that person. Now I don't have my own individuality. My nature, my personality that I used to be so proud of is completely changed, and I've taken over everybody's worst, and that has become my personality. And this is where yogic science helps us. It helps us to think right. Our intellectual powers start to go up. Every day we are reborn. We are a new person with new thought process. Our way of thinking changes, our way of living changes, our way of feeling changes, and all of a sudden we think, my God, we are so much happier. We are so successful in every part of our life. And we become very conscious, we become very mindful about how we interact with the world, how we think on every step of our life. We become very aware, awakened souls, so awake. Now let's think about one other thing before we start our yogic practices. Let's take another example, and we start this session by this higher knowledge, so that when we are happier, then only we can do yogic practices. When we are bleeding inside and when we are in pain and we don't understand how this human body and human mind works, then in pain, no matter how good you do yoga, no matter how good and how much time you're spending in meditation, it is all completely meaningless. So we start out this session by removing that pain, by removing that confusion, those things that are clogging our mind. And once there is clarity of vision, once there is that inner strength, that inner power to see things the way they are, then there is no problem. So think about this, that someone comes and just hits us physically, okay? Just gives us a big pat and it's painful, right? Now, after that, that person comes and gives us so many flowers. And then after that, says something, accidentally again says something very negative that hurts us. And then backed up with so many presents. Okay. So 5 days go by, 5 years go by, 10 years go by. What do we remember? Why?
It's negative.
It's negative. Anybody else? Why do we only remember the pain? Why don't we remember they did 20 good things and they did only 2 bad things? Why is it that 10 years have gone by and your mind, when you think of that person, you only think of what bad they did? And they will say, all this good that I did, you never remember? And I just did these 2 bad things and you can't forget. Why? Anybody?
Negative thoughts are multiple times, so it carries on.
There's still something more to it.
You can't let go.
That's also a very good answer. Can't let go. But
Unforgiving spirit.
a forgiving spirit. Yes, these are all good answers. There's not like one answer that is right, But when somebody hurt us with words or physically, that causes pain. And if you are in pain, you cannot forget. That pain needs to be healed. Just like physically, if somebody hits us very hard, so long our body is in pain, we really can't focus on anything. We only think of that person and the person who caused me pain. The moment that pain goes away, you even forget about the person, you forget about the pain, right? Now mental pain, if someone has given us mental pain, even though they gave us so much good, till such time that pain is healed completely, you'll never forget. And if you don't forget, you can never forgive the other person, which means you can never forgive yourself, because every time you think of it, you're torturing your own self. So this is where yogic science, spirituality teaches us that pain is in this hour and it needs to be resolved and healed right now. Do not postpone and keep living your life with pain. You could be doing every practice, you could be doing everything right, but inside if you're bleeding, you're wounded, you have pain and you're carrying that pain, then nothing can be accomplished, nothing can be achieved. So the purpose of our life is to stay happy. That happiness is our birthright. Pain-free living is our birthright. It's very, very important. But what do we see? Somebody hurt me. So I say, oh God, hurt is normal, na? Right? If somebody is going to say something wrong to me, wouldn't you get hurt? We justify that, right? Somebody got angry at me. Now I'm in pain. But it's normal, na? Pain is normal. Hurt is normal, right? Somebody said something which is not so pleasant. So tension and stress is normal. Isn't it? Don't we use this language all the times in our conversation? So then if pain is normal, now we are having this belief system, pain is normal, anger is normal, negativity is normal, hurt is normal, right? Irritation is normal, tension is normal, then happiness is abnormal, right? Then peace is not needed, right? So it is all about learning that when we are born with the qualities of our spirit. The 5 qualities of our spirit, our Atman is love, happiness, peace, power, purity. So long we stay connected to these 5 elements, we are always happy. No matter what, our happiness is not contingent upon whether or not someone or some situation has happened exactly the way we want it. The happiness comes from within. Situation comes always from outside, but response comes from within. So I have complete control over the response that I have, but I have no control over the situations and people, how they treat me. So happiness, peace, power, purity is all part of my Atman. I'm born with these 5 qualities. So now when I do yogic practices, when I do meditation, when I sit and do yoga practices, pranayama, then I stay connected to these 5 original parts of my nature. And as I stay with these qualities, then the acquired nature, so-called natural nature of anger and frustration and tension and pain and hatred and jealousy, they can't come near me. Because our yogic body, our yogic mind does a divine surgery. It's like doing a surgery on your own self, where you have divine mind, divine body, divine thoughts, divine feeling, divine actions. There is divinity in your deeds. Everything is divine. So when that kind of divinity comes in our interactions with the world, then we have no issues. So think about it when you all have come here and you all have come in your cars, and when you were driving, then I'm sure you found so many people who were not driving their car right? But you had 2 choices. Either you would look at every car driver that is not driving their car correctly and you will just start correcting them. And if you did that, that means your focus will move away from your car driving to correcting them. And now, the result? The result? Accidents, right? Now think of it, same thing happens in our families. Everybody is driving their own car with the same right speed which they think is right, with the way they want to drive their car. Now, do we want to just sit and keep correcting everybody and think that when they are all corrected, then my life is going to be intact? Or am I going to focus on my own driving? That how do I have to think right? How do I have to speak right? How do I have to act right? So instead of continuously teaching others and correcting others, if we just put the focus on us and become that inspiring example for others, that they look at us and they learn from our own life, then that will be a permanent change. That's called transformation in yogic language. Focus on your own self. Many times we feel, if somebody doesn't speak right to me, then how is it possible to speak nicely with them? So the questions that we need to ask, is it easier to speak with love, or is it easier to tell them to speak with me in love? What's easier? Is it easier to trust another person, or is it easier for them to know and understand, please trust me, please, why don't you understand me, why don't you trust me? Is it easier to stay happy, or is it easier for others to make other people understand, please be happy, because if you're going to be happy, then my life will be happy? What's easy? Isn't it easy to just do it? If we think it's easy, then why are we always picking the harder choice? That is what the question we need to ask. We always pick the harder choice. And we are spending all our life trying to tell our spouses, please understand me, as if we're begging. Actually, we are constantly begging, please give me happiness, please give me trust, please just for 2 minutes talk to me nicely. You never have time for me, can you just make time for me? Today is my anniversary, I need that gift from you. Right? So, all this, and yes, the other person is doing the same. So we are begging from them and they are begging from us. Can two beggars give anything to each other? And that's why the saga continues and the relationships don't flourish. If between the two one can just give, yogic science teaches us, spirituality teaches us, the meaning of true relationship is just to give, give and give. And when we just think and we don't count, I gave it once, I gave it twice, I gave it thrice, and now bas, no more, enough. I think, how do you want happiness just for 1 hour or 2 hours, or do you want happiness for the whole day? And if you want happiness for the whole day, every day, all your life, then just give and keep focusing on yourself and keep correcting yourself. Watch your thoughts, watch your feelings, watch your deeds, and keep refining. And when we start doing yogic practices, first thing happens, we start to get purified from inside. The divine love through our heart chakra starts to surround us. Within us, we are filled with divine love. Around us, we are filled with divine love. And we become the walking, talking fountain, the temple of peace. The vibrations are so positive that they vibrate with higher frequency, that they always keep us lifted up. We're always feeling light and happy and joyful. Then it's not difficult. And the last thing before we start our stretches, we are always preserving our energy in different resources that we have. We keep our phone off so that it doesn't lose battery. We keep our computers off, right? That it doesn't shut down, especially when we need them. We keep our taps not running so that when we need water is there. We turn our electricity switches off, right? So we're very, very, very careful when it comes to our possessions, that that they last longer and we are not wasting any resources. But the biggest resource of our life, which is our energy, our inner energy, we are depleting all day into these things. And if we can learn through yogic practices, if we can learn to shut our energy from depletion And if we can just turn it off and only think what you have to think and don't allow all the wasted thoughts, negative thoughts, not needed thoughts to enter in our body, then we are never tired. You know how we use this word? That in the evening it's okay to be tired. You know, mornings are very fresh, but by the time evening comes, your mind has to be exhausted. It's natural. We've accepted that. My body has to be tired. But yogic science teaches us just the opposite of that. That manosthiti can always be the same. If you watch your thoughts, if you preserve your energy, if you increase your inner power continuously through yogic practices, and if you not consume on wasted thoughts, then you can be a power ball rolling with so much excitement and enthusiasm all day. That relationships, that's the nurturing relationships need. Watering of happiness, watering of peace, watering of positivity, watering of love. Just give love, that's all. Life is very simple, it's not complicated. We have made it complicated when we think of all these complicated things. But it's very simple and very beautiful. The only thing, one thing we need to remember, just give love, keep doing yogic practices, purify your inner vibrations, increase your purity, and watch. Every day your life will start to transform. We start to move upwards in life, and where there is light of yoga, darkness of pain, misery, stress, greed, jealousy, tension cannot stay. So with these words of wisdom, we'll start with our yoga stretches. So let's go ahead and stand up.